I was, living in like this very like, I'm a misunderstood art student in Delhi, Yeah. No, but that happens when you read it a certain way. Like also when you're reading, it's kind of, you're kind of picturizing it in your head as you're going along. Then if you get one surprise, then you're like, what? This is at night? You're like, your whole foundation is shaken. I have this habit, and it's everyone is like, why do you do this? But I've got this habit from school. Whenever I buy my book, I write my name and I underline it.
Yeah. Marking the territory. Oh.
Because first of all, when you give people books, they disappear.
The question, क्या टूटे हुए दिल से ही संगीत निकलता है?
मेरे केस में तो यही मामला है.
Yo guys, so आज आप एक बहुत ही शानदार गेस्ट एपिसोड देखने वाले हो विद द एक्टर जोया हुसैन. जोया हुसैन को आपने देखा होगा इन द फिल्म्स लाइक मुक्काबाज एंड इन द शोज लाइक ग्रहण. आपने इन्हें प्रतीक कुहड़ के भी कुछ म्यूजिक वीडियोस में देखा होगा. आई हैड अ लवली टाइम टॉकिंग टू जोया बिकॉज उन्होंने इतनी पैशनेटली बात की अबाउट बुक्स, अबाउट मूवीज, अबाउट शोज, अबाउट एवरीथिंग इन जनरल. और ये बढ़िया मस्त 1 घंटे से ज़्यादा का एपिसोड है, तो बिल्कुल ऐसे लेट बैक होके देखो. एंड आई एम टेलिंग यू दिस इज गोइंग टू एंड अप बिकमिंग वन ऑफ योर फेवरेट वीडियोज ऑन चलचित्र टॉक्स. सो लेट्स जंप राइट इनसाइड द कन्वर्सेशन. हाय जोया, हाउ आर यू? वेलकम टू चलचित्र टॉक्स.
Thank you for having me.
I am very excited to do this episode, and I'm going to take a lot of recommendations from you. So are you all set?
Done.
So what do you want to talk about first? I like to do this thing when I get particularly film people. I tend to talk about films towards the end because we have all seen them talk about films, right? So do you want to first start with books? Because I also see a bookshelf like right behind you. So
this is one of like 4 bookshelves in my house.
Oh, lovely. So first tell us about your relationship with books, and like, are you an avid reader? Just tell us a little about it.
So my relationship with my mother, actually, when we were kids, I have a younger sister. She's 2 years younger. So that's like nothing. And I think she's older than me a lot of the times and bullies me. But when we were kids, my mother made it because neither she or I were really very excited about reading. So my mother made it a thing that every Friday after school, before the weekend, she would take us to this bookshop in Delhi, Midland Bookshop in Horse Khas.
Wow.
And he would make us pick a book and be like, now you read it and finish it till we come back next Friday. And so we were like, shit, how it became like homework, shit.
Yeah.
But it really inculcated this habit. She says it became a habit to read, And it took me a while. And initially, of course, I would love to read like Famous Five and Nancy Drew and all the Roald Dahls and Narnias and all of that. But it took me a while to figure out like what genres I really enjoy. And I actually first gravitated towards a lot of nonfiction. I kind of always had this. I think those are also my general leanings. But I always had this desire to just know more beyond my world, like just learn more. So, and I did actually do sociology and psychology in school, and then in college as well. But I kind of ended up reading a lot of history, like Romila Thapar and all that. Way before, like it's your college reading. But I ended up reading all of that in school, along with like Animorphs and Science, Robin Cook and all, like Jeffrey Archer and all of that. I ended up reading a lot of non-fiction, which was great. So that by the time I got to college, I'd read like most of the books on like my sociology and, mass comm reading lists and all that.
Wow.
When I moved to Bombay, actually, I had no friends. I had nothing to do, nowhere to go, 0 meetings. I just landed up. So I traveled with like 10 kilos of my saman was just books,
Wow.
like new books and different. I read like 30 books also, okay, like just for like gossip, where I'm like, I'll buy it in an airport and be like, by the time I'm off this flight, I'll finish it because they're so bad. But sometimes you want to read that also to kind of, like cleanse your palate before, because right now I'm going through like this really like thriller phase. I'm really enjoying reading a lot of Japanese writers, a lot of thrillers. Just I'm not feeling engaged very easily. I want to read something like fun and, like a beach read or something, light. But it's not happening. I've been reading really heavy books. But I'm enjoying it.
Lovely. Like I was recording an episode yesterday with filmmaker Abhishek Chaubey, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, and he said this one line: I no longer have time for mediocre books or mediocre films."
Mm.
Like, because it was like, yeah, sometimes that happens, but I also agree with what you're saying. Sometimes you have to read those bad books, which have
Yeah,
like meaningless books. So because it kind of leads to like very good juxtaposition in your mind, right? Like, okay,
yeah.
अब ये दोनों कैसे connect करेंगे? You can't always be reading like really 10 on 10 stuff. So I kind of really agree with that. So tell me about, like, give me some, like, tell me about those influences you have, which are the most influential books of your lifetime.
I think one of the there are a couple of books actually. One book I read, no, I read them all in college. One is a book called Reflections in a Sacred Pond by Murad Ali Beg. It's a bunch of essays, sociological, but about India, about how geographically we've come to be, culturally we've come to be, divisions in our society. So I really like reading it because, again, what I was studying in college was very complex also.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed Reflections in a Sacred Pond because it's just very, in very simple language, very easily broke it down, you know. Another book which my drama teacher actually gifted to me was Ways of Seeing by John Berger.
Okay.
Uh, and Freedom at Midnight. I loved Freedom. A Train to Pakistan. These two books I think are just the best books on Indian independence. Very
Wow.
different. One is more like chronologically, and it kind of tells you what happened, why it happened, then what happened. But I loved Train to Pakistan also. Khushwant Singh's book. Um, yeah, so these books really influenced me. I also Elena Ferrante, The Lost Daughter. You
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
I don't know, these books. I think I was a very angsty child. Okay, like angsty child, angsty teenager, very angsty through my 20s. So I always, even the kind of plays I kind of gravitated towards and was doing in theater were very like tragic and like I was
Yeah.
really like I was really like pretentious. Okay, and I was like, I want to feel, I want to be moved, just want to be like engaged. So I was reading these really heavy books, but they really opened my brain up to ways of like articulating, feeling. It just, opens up your spectrum to so many things. So these books, I mean, there were many books, but these books I distinctly remember because then I ended up gifting these books to everyone I met.
Wow. Wow.
Like it's such a simple book, but it makes you just, be like, oh, okay, that was interesting.
Like, if
I love.
you can recollect, which is that one book that you like to gift people a lot, if you have to choose one?
Right now, it's Charlie Kaufman's book *And Kind*.
Oh,
Yeah, I didn't know he has a book. I
yeah,
actually
I
just
also didn't know.
I came I just it's a pretty like thick big book, huh? I
Okay.
haven't read it yet. I am looking forward. I bought it for myself and several other people. Because I first of all very surprised to know that he even had a book, and
Yeah.
he's just such a wonderful writer. And we've all
Yeah.
seen so much of his work, so I'm really looking forward to that book. And another one, actually, it's lying right here.
Sure, sure.
There's Kigo Higashino's book. He's like one of the masters of like Japanese thriller. He's like the who wrote The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and all. Stig Lawson,
I know the, like, the the
the,
Fincher one, I
the
know. Yeah,
movie.
but yeah, yeah, yeah. Can
So
you show
he's
us the
like,
cover of this book? The one you have it. Oh, nice.
it's called Journey Under the Midnight Sun, and actually reading
I
two of them.
got it, got it. And like, fiction में like जैसे what other, मतलब because हमने non fiction की भी बहुत ज़्यादा बात की. Fiction में you also mentioned some of the authors, but fiction में which are some of those heavy influences that you have?
Fiction, I don't know if you can call, but I loved like City of Jinns, The White Mughals, and all that when I was in college. Again, it just what I liked about those books and William Dalrymple's writing in particular at that time
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that I was, living in like this very like I'm a misunderstood art student in Delhi. And I lived in, and then when I was in class 11 or 12, we shifted to Gurgaon, so there was like nothing over there. And
Oh,
so these books really made me see my own surroundings in a very different light. um whether and just the culture, the history of
yeah.
Delhi, you know uh, and there's like a mysticism to this book. Salman Rushdie as well. This was like this
Yeah.
magical, feeling you got when you read these books, and they kind of transported you to this other time, and that's what I enjoyed about those books at that time. I also, what else did I read? I read a lot of like Robin Cook science fiction, a lot
Oh,
of Wilbur Smith. I really wanted to, at one point, I really wanted to be an Egyptologist. And
oh.
then I realized being an Egyptologist is not what you see in The
What
Mummy.
is Egypt? What does it mean? Egyptologist?
They're archaeologists that specialize in the study of ancient Egypt.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was super into like, just again, I mean, when you're like a child and you read about the pyramids and the Sphinx and the mummification, and this hieroglyphics was so exciting. I was like, I want to learn this language, not knowing that
Ah,
it doesn't exist anymore.
wow, wow,
Yeah.
wow.
So then I realized it's not what you see in the film The Mummy. It's very
Yeah,
different now in real life. A lot of
yeah.
excavating and being in the desert. So I did a lot of Wilbur Smith also. I really enjoyed Wilbur Smith. My mother actually, whatever my mother was reading, I would take and read.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Like there is the way I read it, a lot of people make fun of it when I talk about it on the channel is. So I kind of use books as blueprints in my imagination. So a lot of times what I do is if the author is saying ki this is happening, and it's happening in the morning. But if I had imagined it in night, I
Yeah,
keep
yeah, yeah.
reading it. No, now तो मैं night का ही सोच के पढ़ूंगा.
Yeah. No, but that happens when you read it a certain way. Like also when you're reading, it's kind of, you're
Yeah,
kind of picturizing it in your head as you're going along. Then if you get one surprise and you're like, what? This is at night? You're like, what?
yeah.
Your whole foundation is shaken. And you do go back, and I go back and reread it.
Yeah, so I am like कि नहीं मैं तो मेरे narrative के हिसाब से ही चलूंगा.
Yeah. I've
So
made
I
personality for all the characters. I've decided who I don't like already and who I like and who I'm rooting for. It
yeah,
happens.
let's say अगर आप एक Japanese book पढ़ रहे हो, so आपके दिमाग में जो characters आएंगे, will they be Indians? Will they be Japanese? Will they be people from your memory? Who will they be?
Japanese. I've actually never been to Japan, and I would really love to. I would really love to go. Um, my the only exposure I've had to Japan is just like films and travel blogs and videos and all. When you're just in like the YouTube rabbit hole.
Yeah.
That is, of course, books. So a lot of Murakami. Initially it was
Yeah.
Murakami. Remember, I think the first Murakami book I read, again, big influence, was Sputnik's Sweetheart.
Oh, lovely. I love it.
And then
Yeah.
I read that. And then the second book I read was Strange Library.
I
So,
haven't read.
it's very interesting. Hyper like magical surrealism.
Huh.
It's a quick read. But those they're not the two most conventional books to start reading
Yeah.
Murakami with. Then I got into Norwegian Word and dance and all of that. So yeah, that was my introduction. So I kind of just imagined his characters like I would just imagine Japanese people.
Got it.
I think the first kind of exposure I had to a Japanese book was Memoirs of a Geisha.
Got it.
Again, my
Got
mother
it.
was reading it, so I took it and read it. My mother is
Lovely.
like a book fiend,
Wow. Wow.
and she's really fast. So it's very good because then you get all the books.
Yeah, and particularly if we can talk about Murakami for a bit, because like I was recently in Delhi only at a bookstore, Lodi Garden में the bookshop के नाम से एक जगह, बहुत ही प्यारी जगह है, like so I was like seeing कि which should be the next book. Have you read that Murakami book Hard Boiled something?
No, I haven't.
I have to read it because I think that will be the next one I'll pick up. So I've read the Kafkas and the Wind Up, and I also believe that something is very special about his short story collections. His short story, one of the books I gifted people the most was a short story collection, Blind Willow, Sleeping Women.
Yes.
Yeah. So in general, like I get very excited when anyone mentions Murakami.
No, even this one, he's written a book. I haven't read it, but I saw it recently. I think at Kitab Khana about jazz.
Oh, yeah.
And he's written this other one, What I Think About When I Think About Running.
Running.
How
Yes.
he
Yes.
got- yeah. And he's got a lot of these small ones about love, devotion, All
Yeah.
those, men on women, women on men. I haven't gotten so into those, but I would really like to. It's just like a quick perspective on something.
Lovely, lovely. So when you read, like, do you like to highlight stuff? Do you use your pencil, or are you like, no, I won't like make my marks on my books?
No, I love making marks on my. I have this habit, and it's a really everyone is like, "Why do you do this?" But I've got this habit from school. Whenever I buy my book, I write my name and I underline it on.
Ah, yeah, 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 yeah.
You know, like I'm not even kidding. So
Marking the territory. Oh,
yeah, because first of all, when you give people books, no, they disappear. You don't get them back, and that's fine. It's like, but you should know. You should know it's
yeah,
not yours. It's mine. You know.
lovely.
So I had this habit, and what was your question? I've fully forgotten.
Like the underlining in
Underline.
pencils and
Yeah.
marking. Yeah.
So I find when I read fiction, I don't end up doing that so much unless it's like something like a word. But if it's a word I don't know, I look it up immediately on my phone. I end up underlining like a place or like something interesting that like a new place or a food or something cultural reference or something
Wow.
that I'll underline or maybe like put a little doggy on my page and then come back to it. But I fully like underline. I write something there and then
Wow.
I end up folding a lot of the pages because it should feel lived in also. No, the book. I'm not
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
precious about my book.
No, but this is, I think, hard relate इस चीज के लिए, because I kind of end up doing the same thing. And like pencil, pen, कुछ भी हो, like बहुत सारी चीजों का मतलब मैं mixture बना लेता हूँ. Like if I'm
Yeah,
really, really into it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And like, how much do you read on Kindle?
Zero.
Ah,
I don't have a Kindle. I I just can't retain information. Even if I'm reading a script, I like to have a hard copy. For a quick first read, I'll maybe do it on my laptop or something. I'm also not very technologically savvy.
hmm.
So just fine. I have no desire to get with it either. Let's see how long I survive
So
like that.
आपने Kindle अभी तक ऐसे properly try ही नहीं किया?
नहीं.
तभी.
क्यों एक मेरी दोस्त है वो बहुत पढ़ती है my mother also reads a lot on the Kindle now and she's like no darling you get a good feel of the page it's very realistic and all of that the I guess the good thing about a Kindle is the convenience of it you don't have to travel with like 4 books you can put them all on one device I just really like folding the pages when I find something and underlining things also to have the book to just have it on my shelf once I've
Yeah,
read it, to have it there, to know
yeah.
that, okay, I better get to it. I like that feeling. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll convert, but I'm holding out as of now. What is your opinion?
So
You look like you like Kindle because you
So
had that
मैंने,
reaction.
yeah, so I kind of have a thing where like I am okay reading the PDFs, or okay using the Kindle desktop, reading it on Kindle, actually using the books. And I have this thing, particularly when I'm reading non-fiction or self-help. So when I finish it on Kindle, and a lot of times I do it because they are also cheaper. So I finish a book on Kindle, and I'm like, hey, I finished it. Now I'll gift it to myself. Then I gift myself the paperback, and then I
Nice.
keep it in my shelf. Yes, I finished this. So this is something I really, really like doing, but I'm not like anything very, very particular about it. I just like reading self-help slash non-fiction more on Kindle, and
Mm,
fiction like more on the paperback and the hard copy.
interesting. Interesting. I haven't actually read a lot of self-help. I think I started out just reading books on like meditation and yoga and all of
Oh,
that. But I would like to kind of explore it actually.
yeah. मैं आपको एक चीज recommend कर सकता हूँ
Please.
यहाँ पे. So, do you know of Alan de Botton? He is the author of School of Life. He has an organization called School of Life. एक YouTube channel
Mm.
भी है. He talks about everything. मतलब मेरे को लगता है अगर मेरे को स्कूल में पढ़ा दिया होता ना तो मेरे को आज इतना ट्रॉमा नहीं होता, and I would have been
हाँ.
like a far better version of myself. So he has this book where he talks about everything they didn't teach you in school, about like sex, about like anxiety, childhood, culture, work, and all those things. So School of Life was one of the most life-changing books for me. I actually finished reading it last year. And he's now basically लोग self-help में क्या करते हैं when they are telling about self-help, कभी कभी लगता है वो डांट रहे हैं. When Ellen DeWarton does it, it looks like a warm hug. Oh, acha, it was okay that I fucked up. Oh, this is
Very
so
nice.
nice. So currently I'm reading this book by him, How Proust Can Change Your Life. And इन्होंने बताया कि Proust like ऐसे otherwise तो आप पढ़ नहीं पाओगे. And like इसमें आपको मैं बताता हूँ ये कैसे पढ़ते हैं. I'll just tell you the names of the chapters. Okay, I think आपको मजा आ जाएगा. So these are the names. How to love life today, how to read for yourself, how to take your time, how to suffer successfully, how to be a good friend, how to open your eyes, how to be happy in love, how to put books down. This is very good. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I read now that you mentioned this, I'm remembering other things. I read this one book. I got really into philosophy at one point. Okay,
wow.
so and I decided so I read a bit of Freud, I read a bit of Nietzsche. I tried to read The Doors of Perception only because The Doors had mentioned it for Aldous
Yeah.
Huxley.
Yeah.
Infinite
Yeah.
Jest. But a really fun book, I think, for especially like younger people, if they want to get into it, is called Plato and the Platypus.
Oh.
It's like
Okay.
it's literally like Plato explaining theories of philosophy to a platypus.
Wow. 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 मैं ऐसे देख रहा था and the okay. Wow. Nice. Nice. Nice.
Yeah, it was really fun. I remember I read this and towards the end of school only. Because in यहाँ पे we didn't have like philosophy and critical thinking and all that in school, no? You
So
have one.
is it the title Plato and a platypus walks into a bar?
No, she's Plato and the Platypus. It's like an
Okay. Okay.
orange colored book.
Got it. Got
Maybe
it.
now
Got it.
cover's changed. I don't know.
Yeah, got it, got it, got it. Done. I'm definitely going to check it out. In fact, आपने philosophy mention किया because I am really into philosophy and that is the kind of self-help I really like to read. So Ellen de Botton की एक और book है Consolations in Philosophy, where he
Hmm.
talks with that is मैं अभी जब गया था ना वहाँ पे the bookstore वो जो दिल्ली वाला था तो मेरे को या तो ये उठानी थी या Consolations in Philosophy, but I think I went by the cover and picked this. But like that is also a book I would actually love to read. वहां पे मैंने एक चैप्टर देखा था कि if you make less money उसके ऊपर एक पूरी philosophy थी कि how you should be okay with it. So he has a very nice way of like kind of talking about these things. Do you know of this blog called Brain Pickings? आपने शायद
Yes,
Insta. Yes. So
yes.
so ये दो लोग मेरे को ना मेरी लाइफ में बड़े इन्फ्लुएंशियल रहे हैं. फीमेल्स में मारिया पोपोवा द वुमेन बिहाइंड ब्रेन पिकिंग्स एंड
Yeah.
गाइज में एलन डे बॉटन.
I didn't know about him, I've really learned something new today. Now I'm going to be on like this deep dive once our call is over.
आप पक्का मैसेज करोगे कि ये क्या मतलब बिकॉज इट इज लाइक दैट काइंड ऑफ अ
Yeah.
थिंग कि या दिस इज अमेजिंग. सो yeah, so are there any other books that you want to talk about before we move to the next segment, because I know there is a lot we can talk. We haven't talked about biographies, autobiographies. Do you have any
I've not
particular?
too many biographies, but I read when I was, I think about 13 or 14, I read this book. I think it's by Shrabani Basu, but I'm not sure, called The Spy Princess,
Okay.
about Noor Inayat Khan. And I was like mesmerized. I was like, she's me, I am her. मैं बड़ी होके ये character play करूंगी.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really moving for me because she was this Indian princess that left everything and became a coder in the Second World War. And it was mind-blowing for me. And she was quite instrumental in the communications and all of that in Britain, I think out of London, I'm not sure. So that book like really, I was like, wow, what is this world? I generally, even movies, I love to watch like World War movies, Cold War movies, espionage movies.
Wow.
Lord, I love that. Now I've seen everything that I think one can watch in that genre. So now I've shifted to thrillers and true crime.
Wow. And I want to like get to those things and like end the book segment. मैं बस चाह रहा था कि last, do you want to have a take at the bookshelf behind you or like all the bookshelves and be like यार कोई रह ना जाए. So जैसे मेरे को आपके पीछे वाली दिख रही है. If you want to talk about any, because there's that one, right?
There's
Oh,
one there.
wow.
There's two there. I
Oh,
travel.
wow.
There's a lot.
Lovely.
All of my sister's collection also, not just mine.
वाह अमेजिंग. सो हमने जैसे बुक्स की बातें कर ली, like are you also into graphic novels?
I'm not that much, not because I don't enjoy them. I just haven't gotten into it. I feel like I'm catching up with just some books I end up buying and not reading. But I have read some, but not so much. I read
Got
a
it.
lot of comics when I was
Yeah.
younger, but then I started reading I think non-fiction is like my genre. I love non-fiction, sociological books, historical books, thrillers. I haven't read those many graphic novels, but these Palestine, yes,
Palestine. Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes, yes, yeah.
amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. And then I read some like Batman, like some of those Batman there's one now where he's evil. That graphic novel, which
Huh.
one boyfriend has given me, very nice. So when I
Huh.
have read them, I've thoroughly enjoyed them, but I don't end up reaching at because also here in bookstores, first of all, you get bestsellers, okay, and our bestsellers are
Yeah.
they want to buy our bestsellers. So how do you even discover new books anymore? Either you go to these quaint chupe hue bookstores somewhere, or even on
True.
Amazon and all that, you end up, based on your own likes and what you previously bought, it is recommend similar things. I would like to discover like something that I like really just don't know anything about, like what you've just told me. So now I'm just like, whoa, what?
Nice, nice,
How
nice.
to
Yeah. So I also was very curious. आपके पीछे जो frame है, like what exactly is made in that? मेरे को बहुत देर से like yeah, that frame. Can you
This
tell us a yeah?
is a print by Souza,
Okay.
one of my favorite Indian artists. So there's a scruffy man here, and what you can't see is that there's a woman, but
Okay.
she's Nangu, so we won't show her. That's
मैं
his
सो,
Souza.
मैं
And
सोचा था बाद में हम उसकी इमेज ऐसे जब बात के ऊपर लगा सकते हैं, ओवरले लगा सकते हैं.
I'll send you the images.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is great. And now let's move to the next segment. What do you want to talk about now? Because
Oh, whatever. It is free flowing
okay.
for me. I have
So
nothing stuck.
great. So I want to, because you have also been in some of the most some of the most viral and some of the nicest music videos from India. Which are some of your favorite music videos? If you have any music video recommendations.
My favorite video actually of all time, and I don't know why, there's many, many much nicer things out there, was a Nokia ad. Nokia 70 to 50. I still remember it. It's my favorite visual. And
Which, tell me, I have to
it's
look
Nokia
for this.
70 ka ad.
Okay.
I
Okay.
love the music. I love the visuals. It feels very like this is me. It came out, I think, in like the early 2000s or something. But that really, I don't know why it's an ad, but it really impacted my brain.
Is it like with the purple phone and like मतलब इसमें सब बाहर के लोग हैं, I think
Uh,
Indian है. Okay. Okay.
yeah, it's not an Indian ad, but it's
हाँ
very
हाँ.
like, shots, different frames, edit, fast, like nature, birds, smoke, like it's very nice. I don't know why I love this is one of my favorite videos. I really like Indian music videos. When we were younger, there was all those like 90s pop like videos. There wasn't, which were fun songs, but they
Yeah.
weren't like me like videos I saw that were like beautiful and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm not the right person for this. Wim Wenders makes really fun, cool
Yes.
videos.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but those are more like futuristic and very like,
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
yeah.
We can also, if not music videos, we can also talk about your favorite ads also, because the one you mentioned, yeah. Yeah.
There's this and there's one, I think, Lacoste ka ad. I think it's
Yeah.
called,
It's called?
I think it's called, is it for Lacoste or is it for some, I don't know what it is.
No, it must be Lacoste, because Lacoste makes one of the greatest ads ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lacoste and even Kenzo has very nice videos.
Oh, so Lacoste का एक ad है, The Big Leap, where like a guy and a girl are
This is what I'm talking about. This is it. This is
they are coming to like kiss each other, and you see him taking the
yeah.
leap. Oh,
This is
मैंने
the one.
ऐसे लोगों को बैठ के वो ad दिखाया है.
Yeah. I love this video. Again, so nice. And you think about it, yeah, it's like this is an ad for like a product, but they
Yeah.
show they're so beautifully done.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. Kenzo also has nice ones. This Daniel Craig one for I don't know what he just did, but I found it really fun that he could just take the piss out of himself and be like silly and not be like in this serious, avatar that he is.
Nice. Nice. Great. I'm so happy like I finally did a ad segment with someone ad recommendation. Yeah. Abhi, I have this playlist on like YouTube where I just like because I like making a playlist of everything. So I have a playlist where I take note of all the favorite ads. There was this Mac New York life insurance ad like which came back in the day where a kid is just learning to speak and the parents are saying beta bolo mamma और वो बोलता है मम्मा बेटा बोलो पापा वो बोलो डैडी बोलता डैडी and the parents are like बेटा बोलो Czechoslovakia and the kid is like क्या so it's like कि the ad का पूरा premise यही था कि कैसे एकदम से excited हो जाते हैं and we kind of expect things so it's a beautiful ad so ऐसे Fevicol के जो ads हो गए
Yeah, Fevicol
yeah
also.
yeah so great like I'm
There was a
glad
time
like
the Pepsi ads and all that was so iconic. Actually, that's my fun reading. There's this lady, Anuja Chauhan. She has mostly
mm-hmm.
written The Zoya Factor, which became a movie. But I think she was an advertising and she's a copywriter or something. Her books are like, like Indian, like chick flicks. So fun.
Mm.
Writing is actually really funny. Hers are the only books I've been reading of late that I actually like laugh out loud and find funny. And I'm like, nice fun read.
Lovely. So, since we have also talked about this, can we now move to TV shows?
Yeah.
Let's talk about TV shows and like how do you watch TV shows? Do you binge them? Do you like okay, no, only one episode a day, or like what's?
That doesn't you can't leave one episode a day. It doesn't
Yeah.
happen. If you're watching like, a thriller or some suspense or you can't if it's a film you can do that. But for a show, I find it very hard to maybe I won't watch the whole season, but I'll watch as many episodes I can till I like have to work or like leave the house or I fall asleep. So I'm one of those like annoying like binge watching people. But yeah, it's been a great time through the last 2 3 years for TV shows. I mean,
Yeah.
web that and content online in general.
Yeah. Which are some of your favorites?
So I have been going through a very serious Scandinavian show phase.
Wow.
I watched, I was really into Viking history, okay? So I know a lot of the mythology and just history of Vikings and the history of how, like, Denmark, Iceland, Greenland, all of these countries, Sweden, Norway, I know a lot about their history and how they came to be like in modern times. So I watched a lot of the Vikings Valhalla, Black Sails, really fun
Wow.
show. What else? There's a lot of a show called Borderland, which I really liked. Um, it's all on Netflix. And these 2, 3,
Oh, so all of these are on Netflix?
all of these are on Netflix.
Oh.
Yeah. That the Chestnut Murderer or something like that. Something about a volcano, Katla, about the volcano. There's a volcano there. Oh yeah, a Midsummer. It's a film. I don't know where it's available. Ari Aster's second
Yeah.
one. Also, I think set in Sweden.
Hmm.
Love that film. So yeah, that's what I've been watching a lot. I have finished watching everything, so now I have moved on to true crime.
Nice. And true crime, see, I'll tell you like an honest confession is that like I don't think I'm into true crime as much as people are because a lot of times people write to me, can you give me true crime recommendations? And I only have a few. Like, please tell me, is Mindhunter true crime? Would it
I don't
be?
think so. I don't think so. I think true, as per my understanding, I could be completely wrong. True crime is more just like, Mindhunter, I would still say like psychological suspense thriller.
Mm-hmm.
It's documentary made on it or something. Then like, all these like the Charlie Manson series on Netflix and all
Yeah,
that
yeah.
true crime. Like right now, I'm watching this Korean documentary called "In the Name of God." I'm not into like serial killers and all that. I like the ones that are more based on like sociological like findings and learnings. So this "In the Name of God," which is Korean, it talks about how it's about a couple of different incidences, but how people have just used religion to make their own cults and then take advantage of people. Whether it is monetarily, whether it is sexually, whether it is just like these egotistical like maniacs, sociopaths. So those are the ones I kind of end up watching a lot. I saw this really nice one. I think it's on Lionsgate called The Vow, which is about this cult in the east coast of America somewhere
Okay.
called Nexium. And it's about this guy that was actually in marketing. And he started using all these business theories and marketing theories to tell people how to better themselves and just be more productive. And a lot of like your, Jason Bateman's, Jennifer Aniston's and all, like they all went for like these seminars and all that because it was just self-improvement and self-help. But then it ended up becoming this crazy like cult situation, very bad. So I liked The Vow.
Wow, this is I have to watch this thing
That's
because yeah.
kind of true crime ones, not like serial killers of Manhattan, not that.
So is again, sorry, like I don't know these things. Is Wild Wild Country true crime? Have you seen Wild Wild Country?
I have. Oh yeah, technically I feel like it could be because it is. I mean, criminal
Yeah.
activity.
I
And
loved Wild Wild Country.
absolutely, I
Yeah.
also really liked it.
So if
Did-
like someone like me who doesn't know, who needs an in point into true crime, where can someone like me start from?
So actually, Netflix has a great section on true crime.
Yeah.
Great section on true crime, and there's if you've liked watching shows like Mindhunter and all that, there's lots of ones on like I guess start with like the more famous ones like Ted Bundy, Charlie,
Yeah.
all of that. Uh, if you prefer documentaries, start with watching the more docu kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Move
Yeah.
into like fiction.
Got
Like
it.
Tech
Got it.
Tech Wild Country is also like docu
Yeah. Yeah.
true.
Docu series.
Yeah. So like that is lots on Netflix. Which I don't think actually the other platforms have.
सो आई थिंक नेटफ्लिक्स ने क्रैक कर लिया है कि मैं अगर 3 घंटे की भी चीज है ना ऐसे एपिसोड एपिसोड करके देते हैं लोग ज्यादा आएंगे.
The kind of gripe I have with docu series in general, and especially that it becomes a bit, it's what you said, like 2 घंटे की film 4 episode बनाया है. So it's like just it's a bit slow, like you're
या
just repeating yourself a lot. It's like, okay, but what is the suspense? Just tell me what happened. I get a
या
bit.
हाँ सो
So
हुक पॉइंट हर एपिसोड के एंड में हुक पॉइंट देने के चक्कर में टेंशन इंक्रीज के चक्कर में या
yeah,
हो
just in the
जाता
name
है.
of what to my mind, it's very like some of the episodes. I won't particularly one. It was about this like 32 people mass suicide in a factory. 32 people. That's wild. They
वो
found people dead in the false ceiling of a factory. And how, and so that, like, even just, and it's pretty graphic. They do show you the visuals and all of that. That made me like, very, like, uncomfortable and all that. But, like, yeah, then you get a bit like, what is going on with people? How are people being able to manipulate so many people? That's what I find interesting and very like unjust. So
Hmm.
I also just like to watch things that kind of agitate me.
Have you
But I
seen
think
this
also when you get agitated, whether it's through books or films or songs or whatever, I mean, this is me. When you get agitated, you also kind of develop like what your voice is, like what is your opinion, you know?
Hmm. Have you seen this new Malaysian airline MH37? Have you seen that?
Uh,
That how is it?
it's like, see, most of the information we have already.
Yeah.
What was interesting is the nice jalebi the government made to, not know, then try and find out, then wrong info. So there's a lot of misinformation. So it's just really messed up and sad what the families went through for so long. And
Hmm.
matter is a flight just disappeared off the face of the earth. Like,
Crazy.
how does that even happen now? So that was interesting. How and the why and what happened.
Have you seen anything interesting on Scientology?
Yeah. What is his name? Something Thero.
Okay.
He's made a film on a documentary on silent Scientology. Again, Scientology blows my mind. So yeah, but he's a
Yeah.
very documentary. He
Okay.
made that famous that my money don't jiggle jiggle. Really silly.
Ah.
He's actually his documentaries in general are really good.
Okay.
I think this
Okay.
one was the last one.
Sorry.
His Scientology one, I believe, was the last one. Michael Moore, of course, great documentaries.
Yeah. Scientology की मैंने वही देखी है कि it's that I think I've seen that documentary where they kind of get a filmmaker very famous. I think he's a director of the movie Crash. वो आके बताता है कि how I also got into Scientology. Then पूरा
Lots of
one of yeah.
Tom Cruise, Will Smith, John Travolta, and these are just the like.
Elizabeth Moss.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know this.
Elizabeth Moss. So I read this article on Elizabeth because I'm currently watching Mad Men and I really like
Oh,
Elizabeth Moss. And yeah, so she says this one thing ki I kind of don't want to talk about Scientology a lot because I don't want them to make a perception of me when they're watching like any art that is done by me. But like still, you at least people know that you are into it. It's equally kind of tragic. I don't know.
yeah, and doing like I wonder how that. I mean, and doing like a show like The Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
How do you, how do you reconcile that in your head?
Yeah, it doesn't like add up.
Yeah,
But yeah, that is what I wanted to talk about Scientology because मेरे को लगा हम इतनी cult related ना जैसे in a way Midsommar is also that cult kind of a
yeah,
thing, right? Yeah.
yeah,
It's a very मेरे को अब समझ आ गया because this genre I am also really into when people just gang up together and as a cult they start doing weird things.
yeah. That's how I got into true crime because I again more from a like sociology background. That's exactly what you said. Is how do people come together and then just lose all sense of themselves, perception, right, wrong, And I understand that it's on some level, it's a sense of community and togetherness, and people are lonely. I feel, and especially see, we have our family system and whatever, but especially in the West, it's not there. Not like
Hmm.
in more Southeast Asian countries or most Asian countries, or I feel, or in South American countries, they still have a more community, even if it's your neighbors, like a more community kind of setup of kinship and whatever. But there utna nahi hai. So there
ये
is lonely finding yourself and who am I, what is my purpose in the world, and we are
you
not
know
told we are
yeah
our purpose in the world is. We are
yeah
told. We don't have to
yeah
figure out ourselves.
this is Zoya क्योंकि आपने अभी जो बोला ना मतलब this is bang on because there is this documentary I kind of recommended on the channel on flat earthers. It's called Behind the Curve. So it's like a deep dive into कि all the जो इनके पूरे
Yeah,
summits होते हैं flat earthers के flat earth society का एक verified account है like Twitter पे, and not all after that $8 thing they've had a verified account for years and मैं follow करता था just to see कि वो post क्या करते हैं. So flat earthers का जब मैंने
yeah,
वो documentary देखी थी एग्जैक्टली वर्ड टू वर्ड जो आपने अभी बोला ना, यू वॉच इट, यू रियलाइज आधे लोगों को पता है कि अर्थ फ्लैट नहीं है. दे आर देयर बिकॉज दे आर लोनली एंड दे आर लुकिंग फॉर अ कम्युनिटी.
that's what.
इट्स
Yeah, but
क्रेजी.
a wild country, you know. Even this Nexium one, even Scientology. I don't know. A lot of like the ones I like. The system of auditing in psychology. It's basically therapy. I mean, if I have to like really like reduce it very simply, it's therapy. And I think talking about what's going on in your head, in your heart, is always like unburdening for anybody. So if you do it in a community setup and then you associate validation with it, and you associate self-esteem with it, and success with it, and then money with it, and it's like a lethal combo then of things.
Crazy, crazy, crazy. I'm so glad we spoke about this, and I have like noted down some of these recommendations. I think the moment this ends, मैं सबसे पहले जाके देखने वाला हूँ because everything cult and I found my jam
Louis
now.
Theroux, that's his name, Louis Theroux.
Louis Theroux. Okay, I haven't heard this. Yeah.
All his stuff, it's very good. I've
Okay,
been
Louis Theroux.
head. I know he has a cousin, Justin Theroux, very attractive man. He's an actor. So I had Justin Theroux stuck. He's married to Jennifer Aniston for a bit. And he's in the
Oh.
show Leftovers, also nice show.
Justin Theroux, is he the main guy? The Leftovers mein?
Yeah. His cousin.
Oh shit! Because
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, Louis. So I was like, what is his name? Yeah.
So you are saying the attractive guy is the Justin Theroux, na? The Leftovers guy. Yeah, I love Leftovers. Have you seen it?
I haven't finished it though.
Oh, it's such a great and realistic depiction of grief.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now let's talk about movies and like tell us some of your favorite movies. I know it's a vast topic, so you can also go genre wise and you can maybe talk about the biggest influences. So I'll leave that up to you.
Okay. I love all movies in general. I just love movies, The only, I haven't watched too much of like, not too much anime and all, So I would love to learn more and get into that. But I love like Cold War movies, World War movies, thrillers, espionage movies. My father and I, like, whenever we do meet, we just watch, like, we trip out on like spy thrillers and espionage and all that. My favorite actor of all time is Ralph Fiennes. So I have seen book. I had a serious crush on him. But like he was my wallpaper on my phone till my mid-20s. It's not nice. But but he did this film called Sunshine. I think it came out in the late 90s. There's two films called Sunshine, one with Cillian Murphy, not that one, the other one with Ray Fiennes.
One is the Danny Boyle one, no?
No, not that one. This is another one. In 98, 99, something like that. This film really, I don't know what it did. It did something to me, It's about a Hungarian Jewish family, 4 generations of a Hungarian Jewish family that made like their version of Tara, okay, called Sun and Shine. And Sunshine. So hence the film is called. So it's 4 generations of this family through the World War and all of that. And what, just the escalation of things, the troubles of each generation. And he plays the grandfather, the father, and the son in each generation. And I loved that film. Again, it just opened my mind up to like just perspective on like scale, like what's happening, just things beyond yourself. Troubles, the strife, what people went through in that time. And where we are now with like technology and, even just like city building and city planning, how that's affected life. I don't know. That's the thing that trouble me. So I really like mine. Of course, I watched all those films, Stanley Kubrick films, 2001, A Clockwork Orange, Big Impact, even films like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Girl Interrupted, also really impacted how I see things and people. Yeah. Trainspotting. I read the book after. I read the book after I saw the film. Actually, I saw the film in college. Yeah. I think these are like college time pay. You kind of, because you don't even have access before that. Now people do, but at that time, I was in college in 2009, 10. Yeah. So at that time, there was not much access to things. In Delhi, there was this Ocean Film Festival. They showed something, but they're not going to show a Trainspotting or a Clockwork Orange. That you have to stumble upon and find yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
So,
those impacted me at that time.
what are some of the what are some of the influential stuff that you've seen from India, both in regard to movies and shows?
I loved 15th Park Avenue. I loved Aparna Sen's films, Rituparna Sen Gupta, of course, Satyajit Ray, Guru Dutt, Shyam Benegal's movies.
Hmm.
What is that film? Even a film like Mirch Masa. One film which was on YouTube for a very long time. Now it's on movie called Shatranj Ke Khiladi. I loved Saeed Jafri, and I really enjoyed films from that time. Of course, whenever I would watch Shabana Azmi and Smita Patel and all, I would be like, "This, I want to be you,"
How
Yeah,
lovely.
in different films, everyone just had like this some some quality about themselves that you couldn't really put a finger on, and it was really their own personal charisma and charm that they brought to their characters, you know. Um, Yeah, which will be nice to see now also.
Yeah, I actually, another episode I did was with Anirban Das Gupta, who is a creator and a comedian.
Yeah.
Very unse because I have been like mad obsessed with chess like recently, and like then
Oh,
he's like, yeah, because it has gotten so bad that even in the washroom I'll go and like, chalo ek 10 minute ka rapid game khel lo.
on oh,
on phone because you are always competing with each other, right? So अनिर्बन ने मेरे को जो वन लाइनर दिया था ना कि दो राजा चेस इतना खेलने लगे सब भूल गए उनकी सारी they started losing everything.
yeah. Have you seen it?
No, now I
You
have
are-
to.
It's really
Yeah,
fun. Yeah. It's actually very fun. And yeah,
lovely.
it's really funny. And just the the humor's great.
I will. And what about shows? Like, are there any web series or shows that you particularly like from India?
Mm, the most recent thing I saw was Rocket Boys, which I really liked. I really liked Rocket Boys. It's just cool to have such a top quality show come out of India.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, what else have I seen recently? I've watched a lot of Indian shows, yeah. Oh, Delhi Crime. So
Yeah.
good. Delhi Crime. So good. A Trial by Fire. I love these shows. Though Uphaar thing also happened.
Hmm.
It's so fresh and all of them in my memory at least because I actually one of my friends she lost her mother in it and her brother.
Oh,
So it was very like to watch, Trial by Fire, but it's good. Something makes you it should make you uncomfortable, things
yeah.
provoke you to think and want to do something about it, or have to start a conversation, or and that's the purpose of Trial by Fire. There's still no
True.
justice, you know. Trial by Fire, loved that recent. What else have I seen? Patal Lok, love Patal
My
Lok.
favorite show from India.
Cannot wait for season 2. I hope it comes.
Do you have any news about season 2? Have they made
No,
it? What's
I
happening?
I really, yeah, I love the actors, I love the creators, the directors, the writers. I think that's the thing with all these shows, Rocket Boys, Trial by Fire, Patal Lok, Secret Games. The writing is just so good.
Yeah, yeah.
Scam, loved Scam.
Scam. Yeah. Great shows. Great shows. Have you, are you into stand-up comedy and like in general?
Yes, I actually just day before yesterday went for the deadliners to Mehboob Studio and had a grand time.
Oh, lovely. Do you want to particularly like recommend any specials or like comics that like you really like watching?
There was actually this at this show I discovered some new people. I don't know what his name is. It's this guy from Bhopal. I just remember Kullu because he's like
Oh,
mujhe,
oh, you love Kullu, dude. I have to. He's a
you
very
know
good friend. Kullu ka episode Chalchitra pe is one of the most liked episodes. He is.
Kullu. If you know him, please tell him that my friends, we loved Kullu. Okay, I want to know Kullu. I want to be his friend. He was so funny. So funny. We had a blast. And
Dude,
I'm going to see his episode now that you've told me. I had never seen him before. I had never seen any vid, nothing. Completely like first time. It was such a delight.
ये तो मैं क्लिप के जैसे रिलीज कर रहा हूँ बट बिकॉज कुल्लू के साथ चलचित्र का एसोसिएशन इट्स ब्यूटीफुल इज आल्सो वेरी गुड फ्रेंड आई एक्चुअली वाज हिज एट हिज प्लेस सम टाइम बैक और उसने बिकॉज ही इज फ्रॉम भोपाल सो इज लाइक मैं तुम्हें पोहा बनाना सिखाऊंगा सो वी मेड दिस व्लॉग वेयर ही मेड पोहा फॉर मी एंड अ फ्रेंड वी
Oh
जस्ट
my God, please tell him. Please. मैंने परसों ही देखा है उसको.
holy shit this is amazing
Yeah. Or fun. Loved his bit. Loved it. I would love to see more of him now. I will actually actively follow and figure out when he's doing what. It was just too funny. He's taking the
Great.
piss out of everything. He's just taking the piss out of everything. Mumbai. Not Mumbai, Bombay. You know?
Yeah.
It's
Lovely.
really fun.
Who else? Who else do you like in the realm of
Love
comedy?
Democracy. They haven't done a show in a long time. Varun Grover. He was also at this thing only. Love Varun. Ashish Shakya. Tanmay Bhattapati not doing anything of late. This one, Sanjay Rajora. I remember.
Yeah.
Who else?
Sanjay Rajora has some really good interviews also on YouTube where he just talks about life. He's very intense.
Yeah, I used to see them together as Aisi Taisi Democracy. Varun, but great. I haven't seen his stuff outside of Aisi Taisi, but I will now that you've told me. Because he comes on as like this angry, like Haryanvi, but then says some heavy things, you know?
Yeah.
And that like veil of humor, I loved his sets. There were these 2-3 young girls also. 2 young girls. Humaira Sheikh, one of them.
Sumaira, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
I really thought it was very funny also. And one other young girl, Shrishti something.
Shrishti Dikshit.
Does she have this very and sarcastic?
They're all sarcastic. Shrishti Dikshit is there, Uruj Ashwak, Shrija Chaturvedi. There is, I don't know.
Anyway, so these are the people now.
Yeah.
This Kullu anecdote is very funny now, I'm finding.
Oh yeah, he's because the moment like this ends, पहले तो मेरे को वो एक तो cult shows देखने और कुल्लू को message करना है, bro, you wouldn't believe this. Yeah, amazing. So हमने comedy की भी बात कर ली. Now I want to talk about music.
Okay.
हमें पहले आपका म्यूजिक के साथ क्या रिश्ता है बताइए.
So when you're like young, you just listen to whatever your parents are listening to. But with me, that kind of just stayed. So of course, when you go out or whatever, you like slightly more poppy, like, like upbeat kind of things. I never really got into like rap and all that too much, rap, hip hop so much. But I think even now I still listen to a lot of like Cat Stevens, Bob Dylan, John Butler Trio. I like the singer-songwriter situation.
Nice.
What is one guy? He's a very nice song called Rivers.
Okay, Rivers.
Yeah. When I'm working, or in the mornings, if I'm like driving to work, I don't actually end up listening to a lot of I end up listening to more instrumental music. I love, my father plays the flute. And I used to play the flute as well. I trained in jazz and blues. So just but I like to actually listen to I love the sarangi, sarod, flute. I end up listening to a lot of instrumental music. Yeah. Just no words. No words. Even of course, when you're working, this is my favorite, from school. Is this lo-fi playlist on YouTube.
Wo jo the girl who is studying.
That girl has been there through all of our youth. All of us.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah.
because my brain becomes like, So then there's not. I just like it to be like calming, relaxed. Yeah.
Do you like listening to any particular movie soundtracks or background scores or some or maybe even shows?
No, not really. I mean, nothing is jumping out to me. I've really liked the soundtrack to like recently Dune. Dune has a great sound.
Yeah, yeah.
Inside Davis. Love the soundtrack of
Oh,
that.
Inside Lord Davis has such a good soundtrack.
Love the soundtrack of that film. Yeah.
Everything about Inside Louis, अच्छा है.
Yeah.
Their aesthetics, the story, everything is great.
There's actually another like my sad music. This film called Submarine. I haven't seen the film, but the soundtrack is very nice. I think one of like my all-time favorite Rondu songs is this song called Glass in the Park. Um,
Wow.
the whole soundtrack has been, who's the lead singer of the Arctic Monkeys? Why am I forgetting things I know? He's done the soundtrack of the whole film. Very nice soundtrack.
Can I give you a trivia about Submarine? Do you know it's based on a book, Submarine, the movie?
But I haven't seen the film or read the book. I've just heard the soundtrack.
So actually, we were my co-founder Vani. She picks up a book every month that we read, and for one of the months, she had picked up Submarine. So we tweeted about it that we are like doing a discussion tonight, and we had tagged the author also. And he said, "Hey, this is lovely." Then we are like, "Can you join us for the discussion?" So the author of Submarine came and joined us for the
Oh,
discussion. It was beautiful.
amazing.
Yeah, so Joe Dunthorne, his name is Joe Dunthorne. Yeah, so yeah, that's there. So yeah, these are some great recommendations. And मैं आपसे एलेक्स टर्नर की हम बात कर रहे थे ना, आर्कटिक
Alex,
मंकीज.
yes.
ग्रेट. सो मूवी म्यूजिक में आप कोई और चीज के बारे में बात करना चाहते हैं?
Yeah, I think when I was younger, I listened to a lot of like Arctic Monkeys and The Doors and Bob Dylan, all these singer-songwriters. I read all of their books.
Hmm.
Yeah, all the Bob Dylan, Jim Morrison, those kind of, like beatnik kind of books. Uh, but I think as I'm kind of, I got into Indian classical music recently. Really enjoy listening to sitar, sarod, sarangi, mohan veena,
Hmm.
flute, especially the more like, slightly more like soothing kind of rugs. I find it very nice to listen to.
Got it.
Yeah.
What app do you use to listen to music?
I listen not Spotify or Apple Music.
Hmm, 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 hmm.
Apple
Got it.
Music क्योंकि family subscription है और Spotify की recommendations बेहतर है.
Good stuff. Yeah. I am a hardcore YouTube boy because YouTube and YouTube music is my jam.
I don't even know this. What?
YouTube music की app?
मेरे पास YouTube का भी app नहीं है. Wait. I go to like www. Yeah, I'm gonna get this YouTube music
What
app.
are you? So YouTube की एक तो one of the best things out there is YouTube की premium subscriptions, but it lets you play all the YouTube videos in the background. कि आपको फिर वो नहीं है कि नहीं तो आप जैसे YouTube को पीछे भेजोगे तो बंद हो जाएगा.
Yeah. हाँ.
If you get the subscription, you can use it as Spotify.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and sorry.
Yeah, this I'll do for sure. I'm gonna get this. Yeah.
And since 20, how I was archiving my music का जो भी playlist was like every time I like something on YouTube, I hit like on it. like liked playlist बनती जाती है YouTube पे. So YouTube was kind enough. So when they launched YouTube Music a few years back, तो जो भी मेरे likes उसमें videos और music थे, उसने music को filter out करके मेरे को अलग से दे दिया. So मेरा 10 साल का माल सारा YouTube Music पे पड़ा है और सब कुछ अपने आप curate होके आ गया.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so you should definitely check it out. It's very nice.
Yeah.
Great. So now मैं आपसे कुछ miscellaneous recommendations लेना चाहता हूँ because we have talked about movies, books, and music. There is a question I ask all my guests. Any purchase that you did for less than 10,000 rupees that was worth the money, and you're like, everyone should invest in this. The upper limit is 10,000 rupees.
I I don't think I don't like to spend too much money on things that like, you know, that don't matter. I'm not a big spender like that. I'll invest in coffee maker.
हाँ
One good coffee maker, that was worth it for me. क्योंकि फिर बाहर पीनी नहीं पड़ती है, पैसे बच जाते.
yeah
That's good. Long run, good return on investment. You know,
very nice.
spend on things like that. Good shoes.
Good shoes.
Because not for fashion purposes, but for just walking. Actual, you know, feet
Yeah.
bachalo.
मेरे को I have to say मेरे को आपकी vibe बहुत ज़्यादा पसंद आ रही है. It's so authentic. I'm really liking this.
1,000 rupees is too stupid. Like, you shouldn't spend it as frivolously.
Lovely. And one of the last things I want to know, because the line you said stayed with me, ki you like the stuff which agitates you, right? So there is a thing that I am very interested in. The question, क्या टूटे हुए दिल से ही संगीत निकलता है? This whole इम्तियाज अली philosophy. So do you believe in it? क्या टूटे हुए दिल से ही संगीत निकलता है?
मेरे केस में तो यही मामला है.
अच्छा.
I don't know what, you know, I do agree. But in my case, I don't know if that's the case for everyone. But मेरे लिए, हाँ, if I want to write something or create something, it usually comes from a place of being unsettled or not happy with what's happening around, or having an opinion or a point of view and having to just expel it, get it out of. So yeah, because I feel like when I'm just happy, I become more relaxed.
Beautiful. Lovely. This is amazing, Zoya. Thank you so much for all these beautiful recommendations. Before I wrap this, is there anything I might have missed on that you would
No.
like, hey, we didn't discuss this?
No, we've spoken about everything. I mean, I've had a wonderful chat.
Lovely. But this is great. Like, thank you so much, Zoya, for doing this. I had a great time.
Have a nice day. Thank you for
You
having
too.
me. Hi, everyone. Please go and subscribe to Chalchitra Talks on YouTube, or follow them on Instagram or whatever platform you are on. It is really worth it to listen to people and discover new things.